Let me ask you something. Imagine two people, same city, same age, both grew up in similar neighborhoods, went to similar schools, and even started their first jobs around the same time with nearly identical salaries. Fast forward 20 years. One of them owns property, has investments quietly growing in the background, and actually sleeps well at night, knowing money isn't a problem. The other one is still living paycheck to paycheck, stressed every time an unexpected bill shows up, wondering where all the money went. Same starting point, completely different destination. Now, here's the question most people get wrong. They assume the difference is luck, or maybe a better job, or some inheritance they don't know about. But what if I told you the real difference wasn't money at all? What if it was something far more ordinary? Something happening quietly every single day in the smallest decisions these two people made. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Wealth isn't built in big moments. It's built, or destroyed, in the tiny, invisible habits that most people never even notice they have. We live in a world that has completely misled us about what rich people actually do differently. Social media shows you the yacht, the business class seat, the penthouse view at 30. And so most people believe, deep down, that rich people just have more money, and that's why they make better financial decisions. But that logic is backwards. The habit comes before the wealth. Think about it this way. You wouldn't say a fit person goes to the gym because they're fit. They're fit because they go to the gym. The behavior created the outcome. Money works exactly the same way. The problem is that most of us were never taught this. We were taught what money is, maybe how to add and subtract it, but nobody sat us down and said, here is how wealthy people actually think about money on a Tuesday morning when nobody's watching. And so we pick up habits by accident, from our parents, from our friends, from what feels normal in the environment around us. Here's the dangerous part. Poor money habits don't feel bad. They actually feel really good in the moment. That's what makes them so hard to break. Let's break this down properly. There's a concept in psychology called present bias. It simply means our brains are wired to value things in the present far more than things in the future. A reward today feels more real than a reward next year, even if the future reward is 5 times bigger. This is why someone can genuinely know they should be saving money and still spend it. It's not stupidity, it's just how the human brain is built. And here's where rich habits and poor habits split apart at the root. Poor habits are almost always designed around present pleasure. Rich habits are almost always designed around future freedom. Let's walk through the real differences. Habit 1. How they treat the first rupee that comes in. Most people, when money arrives, ask one question: what do I want? They cover their bills, buy a few things that feel good, and whatever's left over, if anything, gets saved. This is called paying yourself last, and it's one of the most common invisible habits that keeps people financially stuck. Wealthy people, or people building wealth, do the opposite. Before they spend a single rupee, before the food delivery app, before the weekend plan, before anything, they move a fixed amount into savings or investments. They pay themselves first. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but the psychology behind it is powerful. When you save what's left over after spending, you're relying on willpower, and willpower is a terrible savings plan. It runs out. When you automate your savings before you even see the money, you're removing willpower from the equation entirely. You're designing the habit into your life rather than hoping you'll feel disciplined enough. Habit 2. How they see everyday spending. Here's a number I want you to hold in your mind. A daily chai and snack habit that costs roughly 80 rupees a day doesn't feel like much, but that's around 2,400 rupees a month, 29,000 rupees a year. Over 10 years, with basic investment returns, that number quietly becomes something close to 5 lakh rupees. Now, I'm not saying never buy chai. That's not the point. The point is that wealthy people have learned to see small, repeated spending the way an investor sees a portfolio, as something that compounds over time. Poor habits treat every purchase as an isolated thing. It's just one thing.
Rich habits understand that there is no such thing as just one thing when it happens every day. There's a name for this. Behavioral economists call it the latte effect, the idea that small, mindless recurring expenses are one of the most overlooked wealth destroyers in ordinary life. Habit 3. Their relationship with debt. This one cuts deep. Poor money habits treat debt as a tool for having things now. Buy the phone on EMI, put the holiday on the credit card, finance the upgrade you don't actually need yet. And the system is built to encourage this. Every app, every store, every advertisement is designed to make spending feel easy and painless and to make the cost of that spending invisible until later. Rich money habits treat debt very differently. Debt, for someone building wealth, is either a tool for producing more money, like a business loan or a carefully considered property investment, or it's something to be eliminated as fast as possible. They understand something most people don't, that consumer debt is essentially a tax on impatience. You're paying a premium to have something before you've actually earned it. And that premium, compounded over years across multiple debts, quietly drains wealth in a way that most people never fully calculate. Habit 4. How they invest their time around money. Wealthy people read, not obsessively, not in a complicated way, but consistently. They spend a small amount of time every week understanding how money works, how markets behave, what inflation does to savings left idle, how compound interest builds real wealth over long periods. People stuck in poor money habits spend almost zero time on this, not because they're lazy, but because nobody ever showed them that financial education is a habit, not just a school subject. And here's the compounding effect of that gap. The person who understands money keeps making better decisions year after year. The person who doesn't keeps making the same avoidable mistakes. Knowledge compounds just like money does. Here's the insight that most finance content misses completely. Rich habits and poor habits aren't really about discipline. They're not about willpower or sacrifice or being some kind of financial monk who never enjoys life. They're about identity. There's a brilliant idea from the world of behavioral psychology, the idea that lasting change doesn't come from chasing outcomes. It comes from shifting how you see yourself. A person who says, "I'm trying to save money," is fighting against their own impulses every single day. A person who says, "I am someone who builds wealth," makes decisions from a completely different place. One is trying to resist temptation, the other is just being consistent with who they believe they are. This is why so many people fail with budgets, savings challenges, and financial goals. The goal is external. The identity hasn't changed. Think about the two people from the beginning of this video. The one building wealth probably doesn't think of themselves as someone who is sacrificing fun to save money. They've reframed it. To them, watching their investments grow is the fun. The security they're building is the reward. They found a way to make delayed gratification feel genuinely satisfying. That psychological shift from "I have to" "this is who I am" is the invisible turning point that most financial advice never talks about. And here's the other layer. Your habits signal to your brain who you are. Every time you pay yourself first, your brain registers, "I am someone who values my future." Every time you make a mindless impulse purchase, your brain registers the opposite. The habits don't just build wealth, they build the belief that you're capable of building wealth, and that belief changes everything. So what do you actually do with this? 3 things. First, automate one financial habit this week. Not a goal, a system. Set up an automatic transfer of even a small amount to a separate savings or investment account on the day your salary arrives. Make it boring. Make it invisible. Let the system do the work that willpower can't. Second, run the numbers on your daily spending. Not to feel guilty, just to see clearly. Take one regular expense and multiply it by 365 days. Then imagine what that number could become if it were invested over 10 years instead. Let the math make the argument for you. Third, start calling yourself something different in your head. Not wealthy yet, but someone who is building wealth, someone who thinks about money intentionally, someone who makes small, smart decisions consistently. That identity shift is not vanity, it's the foundation everything else gets built on. You don't need a higher salary to start. You don't need a windfall. You need a different relationship with the money you already have. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. The gap between the two people at the beginning of this story didn't open up in one dramatic moment. There was no single bad decision that ruined one person's finances, and no single genius move that made the other one rich. The gap opened up slowly, quietly, one small habit at a time, which means it can also close the same way. The person building wealth didn't find some secret. They just started making slightly better decisions with the ordinary money they had, and they kept making those decisions until the results became impossible to ignore. That is available to you. Not tomorrow, not when you earn more, not after the next opportunity. Right now, with what you already have.